Senators, I had not intended to speak on this bill, but I did want to alert this chamber to some moving parts about the ARPA funds that you're aware of it. There are multiple projects across the state that are not going to be approved for ARPA reimbursements. I would encourage you to get on the phone with your mayors and your aldermen, your boards of supervisors, to be sure. This is something I've been working on for 2 months with the current agencies and their vendors. There's some unintended consequences. I'm going to support this legislation, but I want you to be aware and start making those phone calls, because we're going to need to hang on to a piece of legislation, because it was the intent of this body that these projects be funded. As of today, I'm going to read a list of cities that will not be reimbursed as of today. This is not all of them. This is the first of some others that I'm expecting. City of Carthage, $855,974. City of Columbus, $212,290. City of Hernando, $189,531. City of Fulton, $1,540,000. City of Horn Lake, $727,500. City of Water Valley, $281,435. Senators, I do not represent any of these particular cities or these particular projects, but serving you as your chair of municipalities, I'm bringing it to your attention now before it's too late. Please call your mayors and your aldermen and discuss these projects. There is going to be another list of them, and I'm asking the chair and the vice chair to be sure that we hold on to a piece of legislation to address these and other issues. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Senator McMahon. Senator Jordan, for what purpose? You for a question, Senator McMahon. Senator Jordan, you're recognized.
Those unintended consequences you're talking about, were those the one you were just naming?
Those are a firm list that I have received as of this week. There are other projects or portions of projects within cities that are not going to be funded through the ARPA. The money's going to be clawed back because the projects have not been approved. And the reason I'm sharing it with you now is because we're running out of time to have a vehicle to do anything with it. And I do not represent any of those particular cities, but I'm extremely concerned about the cities that are not going to be reimbursed. And there are some cities, there are some other cities and projects that I'm going to have that list, I hope, before the week's out.
Well, we all are concerned about municipalities. That's why I'm asking you the question. So there are more. You have an idea how many there are?
What I've just read, these 7 are the only firm that I've received, but there will be others. And the agency heads want to help, but I'm sharing with you that there are some unintended consequences of the ARPA laws that we passed, and some of these cities are going to have their money clawed back because they're not going to be approved.
Okay. I just want the information, needs that information. Thank you very much, sir.
I just wanted to alert this body before we lost every vehicle to do anything with it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr.
Ma'am.
Thank you, Senator Jordan. Senator Polk, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, there are cities that will not receive funding, and the reason they won't receive the funding is the ARPA bill that we passed was very specific in saying that all federal and state law must be followed. The ones that have been pointed out by Senator McMahon did not follow the procurement laws of Mississippi to the extent of the ability to be able to get reimbursed. That was determined by the contractor Horn Group that was hired to ensure that all the I's were dotted and the T's were crossed. It's a shame that that's happened. They're doing their best to work around and figure ways that we might be able to assist these communities, but in the end, they will at this point, look like not receive their reimbursement. But that's the reason, is because the laws were not totally followed that needed to be to ensure reimbursement. So with that, Mr. President, I move the adoption of the amendment.
Senator has moved. Senator McMahon, for what purpose, sir?
Question.
You have a question, Senator?
I do.
Go for it, Senator McMahon.
So, Senator Polk, thank you for your comments, and I just wanted to redirect the funds that were originally sent to the cities from the federal government did not require those cities to follow state procurement laws. Do you agree with that?
That is correct.
Okay. So would you also agree that what the agencies and their vendor, I didn't say the vendor's name, I think you've said it, but their vendor, what they're doing is they're saying if they didn't follow state procurement laws on their own pot of money from the federal government, which they were not required to, but they're being excluded for using those funds. They're not being qualified because they didn't follow state procurement when they awarded those, but they did it in good faith because the rules didn't exist at the time. Would you agree with that?
I will agree that you and I worked and talked with engineers and others about this, and I know that Horn Group is relooking at their determination, and right now it's in their hands.
Yes, sir. It is. I support what you're doing here. I appreciate you. I just wanted to alert the body before we're out of time and we have no legislative vehicle left to address these particular funds. And you and I think you would agree, the large cities might find a way where they're not being reimbursed, that they can do something with it. But a small city that has committed $700,000, $800,000, $900,000, they have no way to recoup that, and they were not required. They were not required to meet state law when they spent their own federal dollars. Wouldn't you agree?
I would not agree to that because I'm not a legal enough mind to know if that is correct or not.
Okay. Thank you for your help, and I do appreciate you. I thought it was a good time to bring the body this information.
Senator Sparks, for what purpose?
A question, Mr.
Are
President.
you for a question, Senator Polk?
I do.
Senator Sparks, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Based on the recent commentary, it just so happens I do represent the city of Fulton.
Say again?
I represent Fulton.
Yes.
If you're agreeing with Senator McMahon that they're going to have $1.5 roughly million that's not going to be approved, there's a couple of concerns. Number one, I spoke with the mayor right after the money was declared, which I think is what Senator McMahon is referring to, which was the city's direct appropriation from the federal government, which was under $1 million. It was approximately $900,000. I stood on the court square in Fulton, Mississippi, and begged her to wait because the lieutenant governor and other people were barnstorming the state saying, hold on to your money, be a good steward. We're going to create a program for you. And we did. This body created a 1-to-1 match for people that got over $1 million, and under $1 million was a 2-to-1 match. And I explained that to her, and she did exactly what we had hoped she would do. Is she did a water and sewer project. I apologize, I don't know exactly what it is in front of me, but if the contractor who is scoring or reviewing for compliance, if this is a state law technical thing that we've done, that's not an ARPA issue, then obviously as soon as we get off the floor today, I got to go figure out why the city of Fulton is about to lose $1.5 million that they followed the spirit of the program. But I just, super alarming under that situation. So is this the only vehicle left for ARPA money that this body's taking up right now?
Say that last part again.
Is this the only bill that's left that's addressing clawbacks and overflows and things of that nature?
Yeah. We have a Senate bill that's in the House right now, and we have reverse repealers in both. So we will have time to work on that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate you helping on that. Thank you.
Senator Williams, for what purpose, sir?
Question, Mr. Chairman.
Will you yield, Senator Polk?
I do.
Senator Williams is recognized.
Chairman, thank you. As I've served with you on this ARPA subcommittee and probably been privy to a little more conversations in the body here, this is about deliverables. As I understand it, this money that's being clawed back, if you will, is money that was awarded, that everybody followed, that Senator Sparks and Senator McMahon has talked to, but Horn has determined that they're not going to deliver the product to completion by 2026. Is that correct?
That's correct.
With that being the case, that money is going to have to be paid back to the federal government, correct? With that assumption.
Yes, unless we move it to a overflow fund like we're trying to do.
Yes, there's 7 specific projects that were mentioned here today, and I'm assuming the determination of the consultant that we paid, that we put on the hook to be responsible if we can't deliver, they've said that these 7 out of well over 100 projects, I think, that have been awarded at this point are ones that they're deeming that cannot be delivered in time, if I'm understanding it correct.
Well, cannot be delivered because of a fallacy in their procurement process.
Yes, sir. And this speaks to not the federal funds that went to the cities, but the federal funds, the $1.8 billion that went to the state, for which we're responsible for paying back if we don't deliver.
That is correct.
Again, going through the committee with you many times, I think this has been vetted heavily, and we've done everything we can. And there's been movement throughout this session where I think maybe some people came back and were able to deliver, and we're still fluid till we get through session with that, I would assume. But there again, at the end of the day, if these things are not delivered, the state's on the hook to pay this money back. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Williams. Other questions? Senator Branning, for what purpose?
Question, Mr.
Yield
President.
for a question, Senator Polk.
I do.
Senator Branning, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you'll remember hearing the list called out, the city of Carthage was at the top of the list, which I represent, and I have been aware of the issue they've had since, well, before we came back in session. And my understanding, and this is a question to you to make sure that I'm correct in my understanding, is that they had an issue with a specific procurement item, I believe, as it pertains to the advertising method. Maybe the rules changed and they switched to an online advertising requirement. Are you aware of the rule change that kind of happened in the midst of the process?
The rule change was not exactly a rule change. What the cities seem to have been forgetting is a part of the 1991 passed law regarding procurement in Mississippi, and they've been ignoring it for years. And since the Horn Group came in and started looking at everything, these communities did not follow those laws. Now, DEQ did make a change, but it was to enhance what they could do to try to get these communities to follow the law. And so they were warned, they were told, and the portal was changed.
Thank you for that. Would you be willing to work with me when we get through this process, this part today, to see what we could do to help the city of Carthage to, I guess, be in a better position to receive these funds? It would be detrimental to this town to lose almost $1 million. That's a lot of money for Carthage.
I will be glad to, and understand this. I understand that DEQ has done everything they can to work with these cities to find ways to make these plans work.
I believe they have to. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator. Questions? Senator McClendon, for what purpose?
Question, please.
For you for a question, Senator?
I do.
Senator McClendon is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would also like to be added to that list, Senator Branning, of helping the city of Hernando as well as the city of Horn Lake to see what they can do to rectify this situation.
Okay.
Thank
Do
you,
you
sir.
know if they've worked individually trying to work with DEQ to get that worked out? Or
They're
we'll
going
put you
through
on
every
the
channel
list.
they can. Yes, sir.
We'll put you on the list.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator McClendon. Senator Boyd, for what purpose?
Question.
Were you for a question, Senator?
Yes.
Senator Boyd is recognized.
Senator Polk, as the cities are objecting to this, I just didn't know if you were also aware that the Rural Water Association and the Department of Health that these same issues have progressed with this. I had one particular rural water association that followed the guidelines that were on the website that allowed them to follow state law that were on the website. Those subsequently were changed, but they had gone ahead with their project following through with that. And I didn't know if you were aware of that, but that very much has happened to some of our rural water associations across the state as well.
Yes, I am aware that there's some issues there.
Senator Jordan, for what purpose?
Mr. President, I have a question for the chairman.
You're recognized for a question, Senator Jordan.
Yes, Senator Polk, has the Municipal League met with you all and discussed this? Because we are concerned about all the municipalities that may be losing money. Have you, anyone from the Municipal League spoken with you on the possibility that quite a few municipalities will be losing a great sum of money?
Senator, I've not heard from anyone from the Municipal League.
You don't know whether they are aware of what the potentials are?
Since I've not talked with them, I don't know.
And they haven't searched you out anything. So you got 280 or more municipalities, and most of them will lose this money, and they're going to come look up at us. When I say us, I mean this body, and why they're losing. So I thought maybe there could be some communication between you and them, since there's a great potential there.
Yes,
But no one has consulted with you.
No, sir, they have not.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Senator Jordan. Any other questions? Any other questions? Okay, Senator. Senator Polk.
Move this approval of strike all.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Okay.
Move the use of the morning roll call for final passage.
Use of morning roll call has been requested. Anyone object to the procedure? Wish to be recorded as voting no. Present. Seeing none, the bill passes by use of the morning roll call. Thank you, Senator Hobson. Thank you, Senator Polk.